Oblique sketching is one of the techniques that we can use to create a two-dimensional image of a three-dimensional object while incorporating some three-dimensional effects. Ready? Let's begin. I'm going to create an oblique sketch of this object here. An ordinary tissue box, a common household object. It's a rectangular prism, one of the easiest shapes that we can sketch. Notice that it's 9 inches wide, 5 inches deep, and 3 inches high. It will be important to remember those dimensions: 9 inches wide, 5 inches deep, and 3 inches high. Okay, let's begin. To create my oblique sketch today, I'm going to use ordinary grid paper. This grid paper is also called orthographic grid paper, and it has vertical lines and horizontal lines forming square grid sections. I need to establish the scale that I'm going to create my drawing to. I've decided that each grid space on my grid is going to represent 1 inch. So 1 grid square in a vertical direction is 1 inch, 1 grid square in the horizontal direction represents 1 inch. Okay. I'm arbitrarily picking a starting point, and I'm going to sketch a construction line, a horizontal construction line. I'm also going to draw a vertical construction line. Oblique sketching is noted for the fact that the front image, the front view, is a flat-on image. No 3D effects are present in the front view. That's why I was able to draw a horizontal and a vertical line to start drawing my rectangle. Now you'll remember that the box is 9 units wide, 9 inches wide. So counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can place a point there and draw a vertical construction line. Remember that it was 3 inches high. 1, 2, 3. Placing a point and adding a construction line completes the front view of my box. Now, to create the 2D effect and to draw the right side and top views, I begin by drawing a construction line at 45 degrees from the horizontal. This is easy to do on the orthographic grid paper. I simply draw a construction line that passes through the diagonal corners of my grid spaces. I do this from the top corner and from the top corner on the left side as well. Okay. Next, I'm going to utilize a little tape measure that I made for myself. How I made this is I simply cut a strip of paper. I marked a 0 point on it. I lined it up with my grid paper, and I marked at every grid space, going out to 9. That's the largest dimension on my object. In oblique sketching, measurements taken along the diagonal lines are either taken as full size or half size. Let's start by making it full size. You'll remember that it was 5 units deep, 5 inches deep. Counting along my diagonal line, I measure off 5. At that point, I draw a vertical construction line. And from that point, I no longer need to measure. I sketch a horizontal construction line. Going over my construction lines, turning them into object lines by making them darker and thicker. Remembering that the object lines begin and end at the corners so that they represent the actual edge of the object that we're drawing. And there you have it. The style of oblique drawing in which the depth is shown in its full measurement is called cavalier. One feature of cavalier drawings is that they appear distorted to our eye. So let's try another method of oblique drawing, this one called cabinet. I've moved over to the left a little bit and I've established a new arbitrary starting point. Again, the front view will be drawn flat on with no 3D effects. Counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I establish my width and I draw a vertical construction line through those points. Counting 1, 2, 3, I establish my height. And once again, choosing 45 degrees to represent the depth of the object, I simply draw back through the diagonals of my grid squares. Cabinet oblique utilizes a depth measurement that is 1/2 of the true depth. Since the true depth was 5, I've marked off 2.5. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. I'll now place my tape measure along my depth lines and make a mark at 2.5. Drawing a vertical construction line and a horizontal construction line, I now have my cabinet oblique view. Going over my construction lines and turning them into object lines will complete the picture. Now that looks a little bit better to our eye. Adding our title and comparing it to the object that we created the sketches from. Not bad. Now, you try.